This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next 2 hours, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to take a look at a wide variety of health topics ranging from being fit into your 60s, 70s, and 80s, as well as taking a look at the Susan G. Komen Foundation and some of their new initiatives. But I'm really excited about our first hour. We're actually going to spend most of our hour with Dr. Robert Hariri. And he should be Doctor. He is a medical doctor. Has a Ph.D., a serial entrepreneur, and basically a very nice man. He's also a jet pilot, and it looks from his photos that he works out while he's in his office doing bicep curls. Dr. Hariri, welcome to Late Night Health.
It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me on, Mark.
Your whole mission in life, as I see it, is to change the way doctors prescribe and do medicine using cellular medicine. Would that be an accurate statement?
That's very accurate. My mission today is to harness the unique power of living cells and turn them into medicines that can treat the serious life-threatening diseases, can help reverse or arrest the degenerative diseases, and can be used ultimately to improve human performance, particularly as we age.
So would it be safe to say that we could live to 120, 150? It's not an impossibility.
I think that it's not only a possibility, but it is also probable in the context of breakthroughs that are taking place in treating the things that we fear the most, which are these terrible causes of premature death. You know, when you think about it, right, the average lifespan in the world is determined by looking at the average age people pass away, and that's a function of those, not only the long-lived individuals, but what are the causes of premature death which drive that average down. So the things which have moved lifespan in the civilized world to roughly 75 to 80 years of age now, first and foremost was the institution of sanitation measures so that people didn't die of infectious diseases, and then methods to improve nutrition and improve detection of cardiovascular disease, and most recently, all the breakthroughs in how to turn cancer, which used to be one of those lethal diagnoses that if you got a diagnosis with cancer, you went home and you made sure you didn't buy anything with an expiration date past a month. Today, cancer is a disease you can live with and be managed chronically and actually have a very, very good quality of life because of breakthroughs in things like chemotherapy, but most importantly, breakthroughs in what we call immunotherapy. And immunotherapy is grounded in the activity of living cells.
Would you say that we Americans, we'll stay here in this country for right now, that we are generally healthy or not healthy?
You know, there's a lot of debate and a lot of opinion about the health of the American population versus other industrialized nations. And the reality is that, you know, when you blend it all together, the health of Americans is actually pretty darn good compared to the world average. However, there are some countries that have perfected certain things. They have improved nutrition. They've limited the impact of things like drug abuse, and they've helped curtail things like cigarette smoking. And in those environments, the quality of life and lifespan may be slightly better. But you know, in general, American health, because of the great healthcare system and because of high quality nutrition, and now more recently, a greater social importance of things like exercise and an active lifestyle, American health is is in fact quite good compared to the global average.
And what about things like genetically modified foods, people eating too many saturated fats, unsaturated fats, fat in general, eating, at Mickey D's rather than making a vegan or even a fish dinner?
So interestingly enough, and I'm not a nutritionist, so let me preface this by saying a lot of this is my personal medical and scientific intuition and personal experience. But I can tell you that the things that cause decline in our health are things which contribute to what I call a generalized inflammatory state in the body, which is highly erosive and degrades our body at a pace that nothing else matches. Cardiovascular disease as a consequence of nutritional deficiencies and problems is related to metabolic issues that generally can be linked back to much too high a caloric intake rather than the quantity of fat in the diet. In fact, fats are very important in the diet, and there's a growing interest in things like ketogenic diets, which are very high in fat. And fat doesn't necessarily equate to causing heart disease. What does equate to causing heart disease is inflammation, and inflammation is what creates the weaknesses in the biology of the blood vessel wall, which allows it to have changes which lead to things like narrowing and occlusions and things like that. But, basically, what will keep you healthy as you age, there's two things that will clearly keep you healthy. The first thing is to maintain an active lifestyle, and that active lifestyle will be most manifest in your ability to maintain your lean muscle mass and your strength. And then the second thing is to take steps to reduce the stress that leads to chronic inflammation. And that stress is environmental, it's nutritional, it's exposures to outside things, and so on. But
it's also internal. It's also thinking, oh my God, how am I going to pay that bill?
Exactly.
Right.
But believe me, that's what we call the neuroimmune axis. Okay, the brain immune system axis. What happens inside your skull influences your entire body, including your immune system. Look at depressed people. It is clear evidence that things like depression manifest themselves in changes in the immune system, and vice versa. And so these connections mean that your mental state and your stress relief and so on have a big impact in your general health and physiology.
Our guest is Dr. Robert Hariri. He is a medical doctor. He's a biomedical scientist, serial entrepreneur, and the founder and chief executive officer of Celularity, one of the world's leading human cellular therapeutic companies. And that leads us into what we'll talk about, I think, the rest of the time that we have together, and that is you talk about cardiovascular disease or cancer. Can cellular medicine either prevent or reverse? I guess that's the word to of the two biggest fears of most people.
Yeah. So I am absolutely a student of the role of living cellular therapy as a tool to control the immune system and reverse things like inflammation and the erosive effect of inflammation, and also to stimulate what I like to call the regenerative engine in our bodies. And that regenerative engine is what keeps us healthy and young and capable of performing. So let's talk about a couple of things. First and foremost, the hallmarks of healthy aging, in my mind, are three things. It's maintaining high performance mobility, being able to move around, get around, be physical. maintaining high-performance cognitive function, being able to think and having a high-performance brain, and maintaining youthful aesthetics. Looking youthful actually is good for your mind. It's good for your brain, and it's also good physically. It's a reflection of good physical health. Those three things are the hallmark of healthy aging. We know today that cell therapy can play a role in managing the degenerative changes that are associated with the musculoskeletal system that do affect mobility. And there's a lot of work going on in the orthopedic communities and so on to use stem cells and byproducts of stem cells in order to fix bad joints and to stimulate repair in bad joints.
And we have talked about that on the show, and it's amazing what stem cells can do. We're going to take a time out, and we'll come back and continue our conversation. We're talking about cellular medicine with the founder and CEO of Celularity. Celularity. It's one of the world's leading human cellular therapeutic companies, and their mission is to change the way medicine really works so that we can grow old and age gracefully. I think that's a great way of saying it. We're going to have some information about Dr. Hariri on our website at latenighthealth.com. There'll be a link to Celularity so that you can learn more about what they are doing. Join us at latenighthealth.com. Dr. Bob and I return with the insane Daryl Wayne in just a couple of moments. Don't go away.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. Although it's easy to draw a line in the sand, it's always worth the extra effort to draw from your heart. Hatred and anger are so easy to fall upon, especially when you become frustrated with someone. Love and forgiveness may take some work, but just look at the benefits. In the heat of the moment, you can easily say something regrettable, but you can also take a deep breath and think, is this worth the anguish? You can stand up and shout and protest against something you disagree with, but quite often, it's the quiet heart that speaks louder than any anger ever could. Tempered steel is strongest when it's been cooled. When you let anger pass you by, you will always return to a place of love.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit guidetothesoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on latenighthealth.com. There's a lot of talk all over the internet about the remarkable benefits of Carbon-60, and baby boomers are especially excited about it. Greska's Carbon-60 is the premium Carbon-60, developed by an aerospace and NASA scientist. 95% of Greska's customers report positive results from this Nobel Prize-winning technology in just 4 days. Imagine more energy, better health, and more vitality. It's very bioavailable to quickly mend toxin-crippled cells. This is a super powerful antioxidant. Bob Greska is so confident that you'll love his Carbon-60, he wants to send you a bottle at 50% off the regular price to see how life-changing this will be for you. Call 720-600-6040. That's 720-600-6040. Visit c-60.com to learn more. Call 720-600-6040 now or visit c-60.com.